Now we're going to talk about the least important things. Specifically, what are 3 things the state government is doing now that you would eliminate? We're going to start with Hudson Holliday.
Well, let's see, 3 things. First of all, we seem to spend a lot of money in this state on studies and things that really don't produce jobs. We can study something to death. In my home county, we spent $870,000 on a study that was forced down our throat out of Jackson, Mississippi. That if they'd put it in salt paper and on a road, we could have found a use for it. But that's the first thing I think I would change. The second thing would be that we have to look back at the jobs that are really out there that really help people instead of hinder them. We have so much government interference. It's hard to do business in this state. It really is. And we try to help people in some aspects when we really hurt them. Kind of like my daughter one time, she came in and she said, I taught those kittens how to stay in that bucket of water. My wife went out there, she drowned it all. She taught them how to stay in the water, and that's the way government is. That's about all I would say.
Let's go to Dave Dennis now.
I don't know if I have a rebuttal on that one. If you have a couple of cats on stage, you're probably going to get the cat fight, so I'm going to assume you're not referring to me on that one. I'll take a pass on that. But as you look at what goes on, my dad always taught me in business, look at your recurring expenses. Look at what goes on every day in the life of a business, and this is true in government also. Try to cut 5 or 10% out every year of your recurring expenses, because on the front end, you're always going to be adding some type of expense, whether it's new technology, new IT work, new personnel, because programs fundamentally have to be done. Those things are normally added on the front end, and many of them are good. But with respect to what do you cut on the tail end, look at the things that are the albatross or the tail of most businesses and governments. In this instance, a few things could be carpools. I'm not guaranteed a car to drive back and forth to work in. When I drive up and down Highway 49 or elsewhere, I've counted as much as 11% of the cars with some kind of either governmental tag, state, fed, municipal, some kind of tag that is paid for by the taxpayers. No bid contracts. That's an item that sometimes are necessary in extreme emergencies, but not for day in and day out business. Other things would be bond attorneys having an opportunity to really dig in and get serious bond money in other areas without bidding on them. Those would be 3 areas that we would look at.
And an answer from Phil Bryant now.
Sure. The first thing I'd do is cut out the Attorney General being able to pay private attorneys millions of dollars. That's why I filed a lawsuit 2 years ago when I was state auditor, because we hired a private attorney and paid him $14 million for a settlement that the state of Mississippi was involved in. $14 million, that's not a bad deal for an afternoon's work. So I would pass the Sunshine Act that we have passed in the Senate back. I'm going to tell you things that we've done now, not just what we could do. I'm not going to talk about buckets and puppies and cats. I'm going to tell you what we've done. We passed that Sunshine Act and said if you follow us, you wouldn't have to pay those lawyers so much money, some of them that are sitting in the federal penitentiary right now. The other thing that we need to do is make sure we pass the Smart Budget Act. We passed it twice in the Senate, and it says we do away with the old line item budget. It is politically manipulated by the politicians to take your money and empower themselves. And finally, I want to make sure if we give them 1 cent to Planned Parenthood, we stop that right now. Amen. Thank you.